You're listening to the podcast called What No One Knows. I'm your host, Lisa Marie Garcia. Please join us as I talk with some of the most important influencers, from entrepreneurs to C-suites to founders to venture capitalists. You will want to know their answer to the question, what no one knows. Thank you for joining. Okay, welcome to the show, What No One Knows. I'm Lisa Marie Garcia, and I'm happy that you're with us and joining us for our next episode, What No One Knows. So you've heard in the intro what this show is all about, this podcast. And today we have a wonderful guest named Huey Wyche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
it's Huey Wyche. It's
Wyche.
close.
When I looked at you, I'm like, I'm saying this wrong. Thank you. I'm
It
so
happens all the
sorry.
time.
That's right. If you had a dime for every time someone mispronounced your last name.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for joining us. I want to just mention a few things. You've got quite an impressive bio, but I want to mention a few things about you without reading the whole bio, because we're going to dig into some great areas. You are a retired combat veteran. You've worked with special ops. You've worked with Department of Defense. Your degree is in
Aeronautics. Yep.
Thank you, aeronautics. And there's just so much more. I mean, right now you're the technical director of a company called GSAT. Wait until listeners, we dig into GSAT. You will not believe this rockstar company, and we'll get into all of that and much more. But thank you for being on our show, Huey.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And I'm happy to be here.
Great. Well, thank you so much again for being here in person. All right. Well, we've got so much to unpack and talk about. We only have 30 minutes, so let's dig in. One of the first things I'd like to talk about, as we are in the Tampa Bay Wave podcast studios. Thank you so much, Tampa Bay Wave, for letting us be here. I'd like to talk about how you came to be what we call a cohort in one of their programs, and just kind of talk through that so that people can hear from your perspective the engagement and what Tampa Bay Wave provided to GSAT.
Yeah. So originally we were looking at ways to accelerate and get involved in not just a local community in Florida, but global community, because what we're working on is a space-based system. And Chris came along and saw and was recommended that we join the Tampa Bay Wave. And it was probably one of the best decisions he ever made. After being in the Tampa Bay Wave, our company's growth internally and externally, and our connections and the people we were able to contact and get in touch with just grew exponentially. I would actually say that it is a major part of what has happened and helped us grow.
I love that. Best decision ever made. That's huge,
Oh, yeah.
Especially for what you guys have accomplished. So what was the name of the program that you guys were in? It was called the...
we were part of the Cyber Tech X. Yep.
Okay.
And we originally had just were fresh and just started our NSF STTR for figuring out what spectrum to use to detect objects in space and how that helps with the tech infrastructure. And we did that at the same time as the Tampa Bay Wave, and the team was understanding and helped us actually leverage our research and what we were doing and who we were working with in order to get the context needed to grow it out, and just got us in contact with everyone we need to be in contact with and advised us along the way. I would like to specifically say Dr. Manassi has just been a great mentor when it comes to us making some of the decisions that we would make when it comes to just getting the right people, get in touch with the right people to help us gain the capital we need. Whenever we think about Mariah Ramos, I think she spoke recently with you as well. She's been able to get us to all the soft contacts when it comes to social and economic growth, and it's just been extremely helpful. And even Jonathan went out to Italy for us and helped pick up our Bold Award that we were only capable of getting due to the work we did with the Tampa Bay Wave.
Big words there.
Yeah.
I'm a word person. I mean, first of all, leverage.
Oh, yeah.
In a big way. And as you even said, also in terms of capital,
Yes.
right? Is, I mean, you talk to, 100% entrepreneurs or startup, it's all about the money, that raising the money, and we get it. And then, you mentioned, people. And,
Yes.
specifically, Dr. Manassi, and yes, we just talked with Mariah. There's a question that I was gonna ask you about what is unique about the Tampa Bay Wave, and I think your answer was really people.
Oh, yes.
You
Oh,
know.
yes. I would even say that it's crazy how tight-knit they are in the local Tampa community. And then their contacts outside of Tampa and their ability to help you to even form your message properly and form everything you need in order to contact everyone in the areas that you need to go in. So it's just like we like to use the term Sherpa over at myself, Chris. We like to use the term Sherpa. They are Sherpas when it comes to actually building up your startup.
I love
And
that.
it's wild. Yeah, it's wild. And they help you define where your values are and how you commercialize your items as well.
Fantastic. And, while you were talking, I was thinking about the word catapult,
Yes.
right? So it's
Oh,
that,
yeah.
catapult is a person that can do that for you, an organization that can do that for you. I mean, they are not a dime a dozen. They do not grow on the backyard, tree. I mean, they're very unique to find. And then the person, and, because stay there for a minute, that has the right heart, that has the right intention, that wants the best for you, right? Not for them, and is not looking at a win-win necessarily. They're looking at it, I want to help you, I want to catapult you. So that's the step one, I think,
Yes.
of a great, organization or person or team, like you just talked about, but then also then catapulting into the exact right area.
Yes.
That is, that cannot
it's
be recreated easily,
No, it isn't.
right?
It isn't. And it's some of the things that made it harder in the beginning is trying to ensure that we had not just our messaging, but we formatted the way the business is built correctly and our foundation was good. That at the very beginning, well, Chris is very well versed at that for this specific field, especially in the cyber tech area. The folks at the Wave helped us refine that in a way that we would have had a lot more hiccups, mistakes, and trips. They helped us avoid a lot of those boo-boos along the way.
Yeah.
And I really can't say how great it was to be a part of that.
Well, and like you said, those, the time,
Yeah.
the extra time and the extra energy, learning from a mistake. I mean, we're gonna have that no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But what you avoided, you probably don't even know. I mean, you just
Exactly.
acknowledged it, right? But,
Yep.
what I call it favor and blessings, I want to talk about some of the awards that your company has gotten, because they're a rock star. But before that, I also want to let's talk a little bit about your CEO,
Oh, yeah.
Chris, and the amazing awards and accolades and who he is, and just introduce him to the audience, please, because he's.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chris Rowley is just whenever it comes to government and commercialization of government items, he is pretty much the guru. Studied at Harvard, actually wrote a part of that as his thesis, and showed how we can leverage commercial to help the government do its job better. Because being a retired veteran, I will say that the government doesn't do things the best. They're not the best at figuring out how to get things done in a manner that reduces waste. Commercial side, waste is your enemy. And when you take that mindset and you roll it into the government world, it actually makes it a lot more efficient. You reduce the waste, you reduce the trials, and you make sure that the item you're using isn't just the benefit of the government, but the benefit of the commercial world, which is the people. So I I I share that mindset with him, but he is phenomenal at segueing companies into the government sector and showing the government where that value is. He's also led what we call AFWorks and SpaceWorks. He helped create those, I would like to say, babies and make them flourish, which helped us put more new technologies into, especially the DoD field. And he's just sorry. even when it comes to a hurricane that happened more recently over in Panama City. Panama City was wiped out. Him and David Fondacaro, he's also with Guardian Sat as well. He helps direct our board. They took pretty much a blade of grass and built a company to build their community back out where they live, that area, Northwest Florida. So they built fire stations, they rebuilt Tyndall Air Force Base, they built a training facility for the military working dogs. They did everything they could to get all the resources that were needed, even taking a vehicle and just driving pallets from one place to another with their personal vehicles to ensure that they could help that community out with a company they built from the ground up. And it's just amazing to see. I actually walked into their office not long after that and became a part of that, as that's how I originally got introduced to Chris, is through Rogue Industries. And just seeing how they were able to grow from nothing to helping a community through a major catastrophe is just amazing. And if you just look at what they've done, what they've been able to complete with nothing and where they are now, Guardian Sat under his leadership and tutelage is just, it's, we're going to do what we need to do. And it's everything that he gets involved in is for the betterment of humanity as a whole. It's not like, hey, this is where we make money. This is where we do things to make things better.
Thank you for sharing that. I did not know about the Rogue Industries and how it started, and that's really crazy great.
Yeah.
And you know, from the time I have spent, which is not a lot, with Chris, for sure, there's the sense that he is a person of support. It's not all about me. It's definitely not all about the money, and it's about what good can he do and how can he affect the positive achievements that he wants to in the best way.
Yes.
You know, and I know him for a hot second, as opposed to, you know, you work, so thank you for sharing that. I do want to ask a little bit more about Guardian Sat. I know when I've told people about what you guys do, I have, you know, my own simplistic way to say it. So I don't want to say it. I want you to share with it, but I also want to, as you talk about the work that you do, I want to acknowledge what is just, you know, a couple awards you've won just in a few months. And so there's so many of them, but one of them, I mean, how wonderful that you guys got the, you know, Harvard Entrepreneurs Alumni 2024, what is it? Winner.
Yep.
For the demo day.
Yes.
I mean, that's huge. And then the other part is you guys are finalists.
Yes, semifinalists for the World Startup Cup. Yeah, the Startup World Cup. Yes, we're going to San Diego for that one. The Harvard thing, one of the biggest challenges with that is you are going against all Harvard grads who have their startups, and they are you're going against elites.
Yes.
So we competed against elites when it comes to a startup, and we were over prepared.
Really?
Yes. So a lot of the stuff we learned through Tampa Bay Wave, a lot of the stuff that is just at the core of what Chris has done as well. And then the leadership of Robert Brisman as well. All those things coming together made it to where when we competed against the elites, we were still the cream of the crop.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah.
It's
and
crazy. Because we, you know, and Chris would be like, well, we got it, you know, this. I'm like, what? You know, so they're reading about it and then I'll dig into it. So, all right. So tell us about Guardian Sat. Give us your pitch, your elevator pitch, and explain to people what you guys do.
Whenever you think about space, you know, actual outer space and satellites, you think about SpaceX launching things up there and putting them there, but nobody really thinks about the traffic. You can look at a map of air traffic and see all the planes crisscrossing. Take that and magnify it by 10. That's what's going on in space. And the scary part about space versus what's happening on the ground is in space, if the object is smaller than a softball, we can't see it at all. It's anything less than that 10 centimeters, you're not going to be able to see it. And that 10 centimeter softball that's flying around there is flying around at more than 7 kilometers per second, which is ridiculous fast, hypersonic speeds. If it were to hit a satellite, it's the same thing as it getting hit by an anti-aircraft missile. If you bring it down even further to 1 centimeter, that's the same as a hand grenade hitting that spacecraft. So while we can still see the softballs, we can't see the bottle caps or the 1 centimeter objects. We at GuardianSat found that not only is it the realm in which that we're operating, which is the low Earth orbits, that's where you have those high velocities and the mass amount of objects and a lot of debris, that we're overpopulating that area with satellites because we're not taking advantage of geostationary orbits. Those geostationary orbits give you a continuous sight of a third of the Earth. So you get pretty much a hemisphere just by having that satellite up there. To do the same thing, you have to launch thousands of satellites in LEO, which is what Starlink does. Starlink has to launch all those satellites in LEO. While it's easier to get there and you can put smaller objects and still see them, you can't have that continuous custody. So you have to constantly hand off communications from satellite to satellite. So they launched close to 6,000 satellites in order to create the same amount of coverage you could do with 4 at GEO.
Okay, you're speaking a little bit of Spanish here with the Geo and Leo.
Yeah.
You lost me a teeny bit.
Okay,
So, but kind of go.
we'll do a little bit of space 101.
Thank
So Leo or low Earth orbit.
Okay.
You got Leo, low Earth orbit, middle Earth orbit, and then medium Earth orbit, and Geo, which is geostationary orbit. It's also a high Earth orbit, but geostationary orbit stays in the same place compared to the ground. So if I had, let's say, I wanted a satellite over West Texas, if I put that satellite over West Texas, it would not just see West Texas, it would see the whole hemisphere that West Texas is in, but it would stay over West Texas. When you put a satellite in LEO, it goes around the Earth extremely fast over and over again, depending on how high or low you want it to be in its altitude when it goes over a specific area. It's only, if I just wanted to look at West Texas, I would get 90 minutes to about an hour, about 2 hours, from 90 minutes to 2 hours of oversight over West Texas with that satellite for however many periods a day, or maybe even once or twice a week. So I would not have that continuous coverage. I would, and it's moving, so whatever I'm communicating with has to articulate to look at it,
right,
to get that communications. So we found that causes you to have to put more items in space to do the same job for a specific area. That's why we want to focus on GEO. GEO is also the high ground when you think of space and Earth communications. GEO is the high ground. At that point, you're able to see a very large, wide area and have constant direct communications with your satellite.
Okay, so GSAT, in what way are you helping companies focus on GEO?
Yes, we want to focus on GEO. So when I was talking about that 10 centimeters and that 1 centimeter, that's how accurate we can be in LEO. In GEO, it needs to be about the size of a golf cart for us to see it.
Okay.
And then we also have to have an idea of where it is. So you can't just scan GEO and say, oh, there's things out there. You have to have an idea where it is so you can focus, be it a radar array or a telescope, on that object. And even on that telescope or the radar array, it's a tiny, tiny speck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your clients are coming to you because
we would like, what we're going to provide is we'll actually provide that traffic control for GEO. Once that satellite is up, it not only provides autonomous avoidance of any objects that come near it, it also provides oversight for satellites within its custody. So now you're able to populate GEO with more mission sets that can do more tasks over a specific area, and have the ability to manage the traffic in that area efficiently within centimeters, unlike right now where it's probably 75 kilometers, anywhere from 73 to 75 kilometers from satellite to satellite. You can actually bring them much closer. You can bring them within meters and know how far they move within centimeters. Right now, we ballpark it.
Great. Okay, thank you for that explanation. I had part of it right. I mean, I remember the trafficking part and all of that, but thank you for explaining, digging into the Geo and Leo and what was there was an M1, I think, Leo?
Mia, yeah, Mia.
That's right. So thank you. So one of the, back to English, just kidding. No, it's all good. I mean, this is tech. This is Tampa Bay Wave. This is tech. It's all tech. And so I have a question for you, given your professional experience and your resume is very wide in what you've done and in your professional career. But what would you say is a trait or characteristic that you think only experience has brought to you in your life?
Persistence. I will say persistence because I found that with any kind of moving forward in progress, you have to persist through the discomfort. And you may have heard before that there is no comfort in change and no change in comfort. Well, that's true with progress too. You can't progress without discomfort. In order to get through that discomfort, you have to be persistent. And that's one of the things I had to learn. But luckily, I learned it earlier on, and it's come into it's become handy, especially when we were first trying to get the proof of concept study through National Science Foundation. And when we worked with them originally, it took us about 18 months to get a final response, and them say, yes, we're going to do this. And then while we were being persistent, we still had to refine what we had without that funding and continue to work on a shoestring budget to get this through because we believed it was important. Rob, especially because he's one of the first people to put a commercial satellite, well, is the first person to put a commercial satellite into space for communications, and he wants that pathway to stay open.
And you're talking about Robert Briskman?
Robert Briskman,
co-founder
yes.
of GuardianSat?
Yeah, co-founder of GuardianSat and also co-founder of SiriusXM Radio. One of the founding engineers for NASA when they came into fruition, and then the first person to launch a commercial satellite. Yeah.
And also founder or one of the original founders or inventors of the CB radio in the day?
It was the S-band. He invented S-band. So when they launched Apollo, they could not put a bunch of antennas on the rocket. They could only put one antenna on the rocket. So he had to figure out how to get all the communications to go through one antenna, and that's how they came up with unified S-band. So he pretty much invented unified S-band, which allowed us to launch the Apollo rockets and communicate with our astronauts when they went into space for the first time.
Men of accomplishment in GuardianSat, for goodness sake. So everyone listening to this, go Google Robert Briskman right now. You will be, your socks will be knocked off. Is that a good thing to say about it? At minimum.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you. No, persistence. I love that you brought up the word discomfort.
Yes.
And we know as I love to read entrepreneur books, right? And that's my favorite thing is, business bios where, you find out that they failed a number of times.
Yes.
And they got knocked down a number of times. We did a book, a Latinx book, and it happened to be at the time that show, the show about the Mexican astronaut, that it took him like 12 years to finally get accepted to NASA. And we were doing this whole numbers thing.
Yes.
What if he quit at year 10 or year 7? Or, like you said, what if you quit at the 5 times discomfort that you're like, I'm just giving up.
Yes.
So the majority of people give up. They say, this is enough. I can't do another year in my company of not taking a salary. I'm over it. I'm going to go get another job. And guess what? Maybe it was only one more time they had to go through.
Yeah.
But as you said it, only experience will teach you to keep on being persistent, and especially through discomfort and to get goal.
Exactly
Thank you for
that.
sharing
Yes.
that. So great. Okay. So what I wanted to ask you then is just you had mentioned that you learned early on about discomfort. So I'm going to get into me, but if you wouldn't mind there.
Oh, that's fine.
Can you share that?
So I was lucky enough to join the Air Force when I was very young. Before I was 18, I joined the Air Force, and that was in October of 2001. So if you know what happened the month prior to that, I joined at a very contentious time. Went to my first duty station over at Eglin Air Force Base as a member of Air Force Special Operations Command to be at the time they called it tactical aircraft maintenance.
Okay.
And I learned why they called it tactical aircraft maintenance really quick. When I got there, the team only had 4 members, the 4 avionics members, and I was a part of the avionics shop. And we had to not only fix the airplanes, but fix the equipment we pulled off the aircraft because SOF didn't believe in waste. When I say discomfort, I got there and the first thing they handed me was something called a TO publication or technical order. And at that time, tech orders were volumes upon volumes of books on specific systems. And when I say volumes, if you think of the Bible they put on a Catholic church, how big and wide it is and
huge?
thick. Yeah, I had to go through 25 of those to learn the systems. And at the time, my supervisor said, "Hey, after you read this book, you work that system. After you read this book, you work that system." And all my job at that point was to read, and that's it. Read. Then it came time to where he was like, "Okay, it's been 1 week. You've had 1 week and you've been at work every day reading. You should at least know one system we're going to go work." And he said, "You're going to grab your toolbox, and you're going to grab the TO, and we're going to do an operational check." And at this time, it was on the pedostatic system. It tells you the airspeed and altitude of the aircraft using air and gauges. Like, and inside the inside of the indicators are just like Swiss watches. It's ridiculous, and it's literally just the air. And he said, "You're going to walk out there with this box, and you're going to walk out there with your TO." The box was 45 pounds. The book was about 5, and I had to walk about a mile and a half to the flight line at the time, from where my shop was to the flight line. And he said, "Okay, if you miss a step, you do something wrong, or you break something, you walk back." So anytime I missed a step, he would tell me and then say, "Okay, stop, you're done, walk back. I'm going to fix this now." And that's how I had to learn. That's how I initially learned how to work on the aircraft.
And then you had to walk back.
Just walk back.
And
originally, the first time I was just upset. I'm like, why didn't you just tell me what I did wrong? Why couldn't you do that? Why am I walking back with this heavy box and these books? You're driving this van out there, which he had a van.
Lovely. Not even a golf cart, but an air conditioner.
And then about the first time I actually went out there and we did the system, I did it from beginning to end correctly. It was probably 2 days later, 2 days from the first walk back, which ended up being about 4 or 5 walks back. I got it right and everything was off, and I closed the book. I was like, "All right, I'm done. I can sign off the object." He's like, "No, you can't sign that off. You're not fully trained yet, but get in the truck. We're gonna ride back." I was like, "Wait, I don't have to walk back?" He's like, "No, you did everything right." I was like, "Well, why'd you make me walk back? I could have gotten in the truck the whole time." I was like, "I'm sitting here thinking this rule. Why didn't you do that?" He's like, "Because if you didn't go through the discomfort on the way back, you wouldn't have had time to think about what you did wrong." He's like, "In that discomfort, you discover what you did wrong." And he said, "We're still going to do this. And you're going to understand that walk back is your time. That discomfort is your time to work through the process to get things right." And because of that, I actually got selected for other things and was able to do different uh, tasks while I was in in deployed locations because I was able to think through the discomfort. And because I was trained early on to think and process through that discomfort, I was actually able to break down problems when everyone else was panicking.
Huey, I love this story. I mean, I didn't like it when I'm like, what the heck? Sense of this lock back? It seems ridiculous. Like, you work on what the issues are.
Yeah.
But 100%. I mean, I call it seeding.
Yeah.
You know, my team knows, and I'm very careful. I try to be careful in our company team, where my first inclination on some, let's just say something simple like a book cover, I will be like inside when I see that's awful. That is ugly. I can't stand it. I hold my tongue, and then I do something. I'm like, let me seed on it, meaning I'm looking at it now. I'm gonna not say anything through the night. I'm gonna revisit it again. Just think about it, seed on it,
Yes.
solve it in your mind, but don't react to your initial emotions, knee jerk. Keep plowing forward
Yeah.
when there's a better way to do it if you just give it the time and thought that you need.
And it's funny because like I said on that walk back originally, it'd be probably about the first 20, 30 seconds of the walk, I'm mad.
Right.
And by the time I'm back to the shop, where we are the avionics shop with all my stuff, I'm sitting there remembering, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
if I didn't do that and he let me just like if this happened, these are all the bad things that could have happened from me not doing this properly. This is why it's important for me to perform this task to this level.
Right.
Yeah.
That's anyways.
Oh,
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. That's gonna be the headline in the follow-up article here. Okay, well, we're definitely getting to the end of our time. No, it's all good. And so we have to ask you the question. So, you know about the show, and the show is based on that idea of all the conversations I've had with prospective book clients over the years, and they've said, I'm gonna tell you something that no one knows. Or I'm gonna tell you that I told this only to my father, or mother, but I want you to share something, anything at all, with the listeners that, what no one knows about you.
Well,
It's gonna be good, I can tell, with that kind of a delay.
oh yeah. So one of the things no one really knows about me, even Mr. Brisman, Chris, they don't know. My wife's probably the only one that knows, is I look for things that are hard to do on purpose. I look for the hardest problems and just sit there and try to solve them. Instead of getting my relaxation method is to look for puzzles and just do puzzles. But if there's something that I know needs to be done, can be done, and should be done, I go for it. I just move towards it, and I it's almost masochistic if you say I know it's going to be hard. I know I'm not going to have a good time doing it, but I'm gonna get it done. And I find so much reward in figuring things out that need to be done that have been disregarded. And I think that's one of the reasons I fit into the team so well, is because I see something that needs to be done. I see something that's hard to do. And the best part about it is it's hard to do, but you have to build the team to do the hard thing.
You're back to the people.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
to the people, but more than that is extremely unique.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely unique. And so that makes you such a unique individual.
Yeah.
And looking for a really unbelievable challenge and then thriving to look
Yes.
for that. Great.
Yes.
I've never met anyone that told me that, and that
I'm sorry.
felt that way. No, I mean, it's very unique and admirable, and you're such a likable guy and how
Well,
accomplished, and I definitely appreciate you being here. Thank you so much
Oh,
and
thank you.
imparting your
Appreciate it.
wisdom.
Yeah.
And we thank the Tampa Bay Wave for letting us use their studio, and thank you very much. And Guardian Sat, you guys keep on rocking and rolling, and how wonderful for you that you work in an amazing team of individuals.
Oh yeah, we're going to change the way we do things in space altogether, and it's going to change the way the world looks at everything.
And you're already doing it.
Oh yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for listening to our show, What No One Knows. If you'd like more information regarding our guests, it's in the description below, as well as if you'd like to work with our publishing and promotion team, that you can also find in the links. Thank you.